This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Today's video is brought to you by a great product from Athletic Greens called AG1. I use it, and I think it would be fantastic if you tried it out too. Before I get to that, though, I want to talk a little bit about the culture war nonsense that seems to be something I have to address a lot. It is a distraction. It is meant to be a distraction. It is an engineered, a specifically organized attempt by Republicans and conservatives all across the country to distract from any progress that could be made by Democrats. They whip their supporters into a frenzy. It creates a distraction at school board meetings. Legislative schedules get taken up by meaningless legislation that is a solution in search of a problem. Governor Youngkin from Virginia is no different. He has started a TipLine to inform on teachers who are teaching divisive topics, meaning the history of the United States of America. And people, as you would expect them to have done, have taken the TipLine and turned it into a hilarious way to dunk on these clowns. I'm going to talk about that on the other side. I'm going to read some of these submissions. I'm going to give you the email address for the TipLine. But before I do, a word from today's sponsor, AG1 from Athletic Greens. In this new year, we're in a new home, in a new city, and I have more going on here on the show than ever before. And while I'm never one to shy away from challenges or complicated topics or situations, it sure is nice to have a couple of slam dunks in your daily life. When it comes to nutrition, I tend to get lost in the details. But AG1 by Athletic Greens is a daily supplement that has utterly simplified my health routine. So what you do is you take a scoop of the powder or a travel packet and you mix it with 8 ounces of water. Look at me demonstrating products on screen. You shake it up and you drink it. AG1's 75 different ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens, make it a veritable one-stop health shop. Then what you do after you shake it, you give it a drink. Go to athleticgreens.com/Dollemore to give AG1 a try. Athletic Greens is going to give my audience a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. AG1 really gives me a leg up in some key areas. And now that I'm no longer a chicken of the spring, as they say, is that what they say? AG1 boosts my energy, and with a natural form of B12, it helps improve memory with antioxidants, which I absolutely need. And I know you don't think I need any help in this department, but AG1 refines my striking good looks too with biotin and vitamin E. Did I mention that it's also delicious? It really is. It's not some weird green drink. It tastes absolutely really good. See what AG1 can polish up for you. Athletic Greens will give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D along with 5 free travel packs on your very first purchase. Head to athleticgreens.com/Dollemore and get your green on. So let me get into this. First of all, I'm gonna put up the email address for this tip line, and it's gonna remain on the screen for the duration of this video. If you take it upon yourself to leave a tip, that is on you. I will neither discourage you or encourage your participation. But here's the email address just in case. For those of you who don't know what this is about, I'm going to read 2 paragraphs from a recent Washington Post interview with Governor Youngkin, the fascist in training. In the interview, Youngkin also touted a tip line for parents to report to the state any school officials they find to be behaving objectionably including teaching quote-unquote divisive subjects. Youngkin has issued an executive order and is backing legislation that seeks to ban concepts such as critical race theory, an academic construct about the history of systemic racism. An academic construct that's taught in law school, not in elementary school, not in middle school or junior high, and not in high school. It's not even taught in undergraduate school in college. It is a law school concept that is taught. Again, ginning up problem, ginning up fear where there should be none. Quote, this is Glenn Youngkin, quote, "We're asking for folks to send us reports and observation," unquote, Youngkin said. "Help us be aware of their child being denied their rights that parents have in Virginia, and we're going to make sure we catalog it all. And that gives us further ability to make sure we're rooting it out." Well, I'm going to read some of these quite funny and very serious submissions to the TipLine. The subject of this email to the TipLine, CRT. "I have heard reports that schools in Virginia are teaching Arabic numerals. I fear that we've become so focused on exposing critical race theory in public education that we've forgotten all about creeping Sharia law. Please address this matter immediately." And if you don't know, here are some Arabic numerals, which are very scary, and we should root out the use of. Here's another one. "Oh no, it's CRT," is the subject. "My son came home and explained that Confederate soldiers have statues not to honor them, but to remember what they did. He wants to know when Osama bin Laden will be getting a statue. So what's your answer?" And this one really gets right to the root of what we're talking about here, the thing that they're trying to ban, these conservatives, these Republicans. "I saw a man being black in public. Can you do something about that? Many thanks." Oh, this is my favorite. CRT is the subject. "Mrs. Crabapple and Principal Skinner were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies, and the baby looked at me." And if you're unaware of what that's from, here it is.
"Mrs. Krabappel and Principal Skinner were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies, and the baby looked at me."
Some people are just really very creative. Here is another one. Governor Youngkin, "I want to thank you for setting up this email address to stop the indoctrination of Virginia's children. Apparently, my daughter's teacher told her the shift in tectonic plates causes earthquakes, which is ridiculous since we know for a fact that earthquakes happen because God is mad at the gays. Respectfully yours," and then they have redacted their name. Here's another one. "God. My child came home from school today and told us his teacher mentioned something called the Civil War. How is the war ever civil? I demand that you address these lies. Just because some of our forefathers decided to kill their countrymen so they could increase their profits on their family farms by not paying the cost of labor and thus fight that damn communism, why should my child have to learn anything? And don't you dare get me started on algebra, you socialists." Signed, an angry parent who doesn't have a racist bone in their body. Oh, here is a very, very serious one that we should take very seriously. "Hello, I would like one cheeseburger with no pickles, one plain, one without bun, one without meat, one without meat, one without cheese, one without meat, cheese on one bun, and one with chicken in place of bread. Thank you, Dixie Normus." Well, thank you, Dixie Normus. We appreciate your concern, and I'm sure Governor Youngkin is taking your, registering your tip. Here's another. "My beautiful daughter, McKay Lindsay, there's got to be a joke there, told me her teacher said she wasn't allowed to say that the government did 9/11 and the moon landing was fake, but it is true and our right to speak about it in class. I am so mad. Birds aren't real. If you don't know, there is some wacky conspiracy theory out there that birds have been extinct for generations and they are like drones flying around spying on all of us. That's a real thing people believe. And then we come to the Harry Potter period of the TipLine pranks. Albus Dumbledore was teaching that full-blooded wizards discriminated against mudbloods. Fire him immediately. Signed, Tom Riddle. CRT and more is the subject. My child, Draco, came home and informed me that his school is now teaching half-bloods. I was so outraged that I gave our house elf Dobby an extra beating. No child of mine is going to be educated next to a filth-covered mudblood. You must put an immediate end to this. It's only a matter of time before we allow muggles in our schools, eating next to our children, changing the rules of Quidditch so that it makes sense. It's outrageous. 10-point Slytherin. I'm not even a Harry Potter nerd, and I think that's funny. Here's another. This is the last one of the Harry Potter, and then we're going to wrap this up. My son's fifth-year teacher, Miss Umbridge, was wrongfully terminated for her views that perfectly align with your administration several years ago, and has not been able to find work teaching since. She never would have been caught dead teaching something as vile as critical race theory. Quite the opposite. She would rather those other races cease to exist entirely. Included is a picture of this woman, villainized for her views, but she truly should be considered a hero. Miss Umbridge was singularly responsible for the anti-werewolf legislation of 1993 and campaigned vigilantly to have the horrible Mare people rounded up and tagged. And for her political beliefs, she found herself out of a job and imprisoned. Take action immediately for the sake of America. Mrs. Goyle. And then one with a little bit of a serious tone to it. When will you learn? When you pass hateful, ass-ignorant abomination of a law, and then set up a hotline to accept tips to help you be more hateful and ignorant, people with empathy and a conscience are going to ensure it goes poorly for you. And that is where we are, and that is true. So again, here's the email address. I believe it has been up on screen the entire time. Use it or don't use it. It is up to you. If you are not quite as funny as these people, and you would like to take a more direct approach at flooding their lines and making things difficult for them, I would take the advice of John Legend, who tweeted this: Black parents need to flood these tip lines with complaints about our history being silenced. We are parents too. And that is what this is about. One, Black history isn't just Black history. It is American history. It is all of our history. The fact that we have abused systematically people of color in this country over the course of hundreds of years should be taught in order that we don't do it again, in order that we raise children to be adults who have some grasp on empathy and compassion and decency and love of their fellow neighbors. Glenn Youngkin is but a Trump carbon copy. I'd love to know what you think about this, the funny and the serious. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Thank you for joining me on this day. I appreciate you very much. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm at Dollemore on all three of those pieces of social media. And if I bring you value, if I do something that you think is important, please consider supporting my work here on the platform for as little as $1.99 a month. You can become a channel member. Click the join button below, or you can head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both of those are great ways to help support and produce what I do. You can also buy a t-shirt. There's like there should be a merch shelf, I think they call it, with some t-shirts below. If that's your flavor of support, that also helps a lot. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Stay active, stay involved, be genuine. Take care of one another.